the door creaked open. Every head turned. Standing in the doorway was a little girl, no older than 8, soaked to the bone. Her pink jacket was 2 sizes too big, her shoes splashed mud with every step, and in her trembling hands, shaking from cold and fear, she held something no one expected. A gun. "Where is my mother?" she asked, her small voice slicing through the low hum of conversation. "Tell me where she is." For a moment, nobody moved. The air inside the diner thickened. The waitress froze mid-pour, the coffee dripping onto the counter. In one of the corner booths, 4 burly men with leather jackets and tattoos, members of the local biker gang known as the Reapers, stared at the girl, confusion and disbelief mixing with a strange kind of concern. Their leader, Jax Dalton, a man with a scar running across his cheek, leaned forward slowly. "Easy there, kid," he said softly. "You don't want to point that thing at people. Someone could get hurt." The girl's eyes darted from face to face, wild and desperate. "You took her," she said, her voice cracking. "You took my mom. You ride the bikes. You wear the jackets. I saw one of you with her picture. Tell me where she is, or I'll shoot." She lifted the gun higher, her hands trembling so badly it looked like the weapon might slip from her fingers. Jax raised both hands in surrender. The other bikers followed suit, exchanging uneasy glances. "Sweetheart," Jax said gently, "we didn't take your mom. But maybe you can tell me her name, and we'll help you find her." Tears streamed down the girl's face. "Her name is Lena Brooks," she whispered. "She's my mommy. She works at the factory by the river. She didn't come home tonight, and I found her picture in one of your people's jackets near our house. I thought." Her voice broke, and for a second she looked less like a child holding a gun and more like a scared little girl just trying to find her mother. The waitress, Maggie, took a step forward, holding her hands out. "Sweetheart, put the gun down," she said, her voice tender but trembling. "You're safe here, okay? We can help you." But the girl shook her head violently. "No. Everyone says that, but nobody helps. The police don't care, the neighbors don't care. She's all I have." She choked back a sob, her thin arms quivering under the weight of everything she didn't understand. Jax exchanged a look with his crew, Tommy, Red, and Ghost. They weren't angels, not by any stretch, but something in that little girl's voice hit them in a place none of them liked to admit existed. "All right," Jax said, slowly standing. "How about this, you put the gun down, and we'll find your mom together. Deal?" The girl's lip trembled. Her fingers twitched. For a long, terrible moment, the room stayed frozen in fear. Then, finally, she lowered the gun. Maggie moved quickly, snatching the weapon away and setting it on the counter before wrapping her arms around the girl. The little one burst into tears, sobbing into the waitress's apron. Jack sighed, rubbing his neck. "What the hell happened to this town?" he muttered, "that an 8-year-old's out here with a gun looking for her mom?" Her name was Ellie Brooks. She was 8 years old, lived in a broken trailer on the outskirts of town, and hadn't seen her father since she was 2. Her mother, Lena, worked double shifts at the textile factory, barely scraping enough to put food on the table. Ellie was used to nights alone, but tonight had been different. Her mother always came home before midnight. Always. So when the clock hit 1 and the rain wouldn't stop, Ellie panicked. She'd gone outside, barefoot, into the storm. That's when she'd found the leather jacket lying near the ditch, black, with Reaper's MC stitched on the back and her mother's photo tucked into the pocket. She remembered thinking, they took her. Now, sitting in a booth at Marlin's diner, wrapped in a blanket Maggie had given her, Ellie looked smaller than ever. Her eyes were red from crying, her hands clutching a mug of cocoa. Jack sat across from her, his massive frame dwarfing the table. He spoke softly. "You said your mom works at the river factory, right?" Ellie nodded. "All right," he said. "We'll start there. You stay here with Maggie while my boys and I check it out." But Ellie shook her head violently. "No. I'm coming too. Jax frowned. It's not safe for you. Her chin lifted, stubborn as her mother's. Neither is being alone. Something in her tone, defiant, trembling, full of pain, hit him hard. He sighed. Fine. But you stay close, got it? She nodded. And so, a few minutes later, the roaring sound of motorcycle engines filled the night again. The rain had eased into a drizzle when they arrived at the factory. The place loomed in the dark like a ghost of steel and concrete. The gates were locked, but Jax broke them open with a crowbar. They searched the loading docks, the empty parking lot, and the side offices. Nothing. Then Ellie spotted something, her mother's scarf, tangled on a piece of fencing near the back. She ran toward it, clutching it to her chest. It's hers, she cried. Jax's jaw tightened. There were tire tracks in the mud, fresh ones. He crouched, running his fingers through the grooves. 2 cars, maybe 3, he muttered. Looks like someone left in a hurry. Red pointed toward the warehouse door. Boss, he said. Blood. A smear of it, faint but unmistakable, led inside. Ellie froze, her small hand gripping Jax's sleeve. Is she hurt? Jax looked down at her, and for a moment, he saw something he hadn't felt in years, responsibility. No, kid, he lied gently. She's tough. We'll find her. Inside, the place was a maze of shadows and machinery. They split up, Tommy checking the upper level, Red and Ghost combing through the offices. Then, from somewhere deep in the building, came a muffled cry. Ellie heard it first. Mom, she whispered, darting forward. Ellie, wait, Jax called, but she was already running, her small footsteps echoing off the concrete. They followed her to a storage room. The door was chained from the outside. Jax ripped it open with brute strength. Inside, huddled and bleeding, was Lena Brooks. Her wrists were tied, her face bruised, but she was alive. Ellie screamed, "Mommy," and ran into her arms. The sight broke something in Jax's chest. Lena sobbed as she clutched her daughter. Baby, how did you find me? Ellie looked up, tears streaming down her cheeks. I didn't. They did. She pointed at Jax and his crew. Lena's eyes widened, recognizing the jackets. You're with the Reapers, she whispered. Jax nodded. Yeah. But we didn't take you. Who did this? She swallowed hard. Men in black cars. Said they were collecting debt for someone named Dolan. I told them I didn't owe anything, but they didn't listen. They said they'd make an example of me. Jax's expression darkened. Dolan was a name he knew all too well, a rival gang leader who'd been muscling into their territory. He stood. Not anymore. By dawn, Dolan's men were gone, hauled off by the cops after Jax made an anonymous call from a payphone. The Reapers didn't like the law, but this time it felt right. Lena was taken to the hospital. The doctors said she'd be okay. Ellie never left her side. When Jax came to check on them later that day, Ellie ran up and hugged him. You found her, she said softly. You're not bad people. He smiled faintly. Don't let that get around, kid. I've got a reputation to keep. Lena looked at him, tears glistening in her tired eyes. Thank you, she whispered. You didn't have to help. Jax shrugged. Kid left me no choice. As he turned to leave, Ellie called out, wait. She held up something small, it was the leather jacket she'd found the night before. This was yours, right? Jax took it, glancing at the photo still tucked in the pocket. He handed it back. Keep it. For luck. Ellie smiled, clutching the jacket to her chest. And for the first time in years, Jax felt something close to peace. A week later, the diner was busier than usual. Maggie wiped the counter, glancing toward the door as the familiar roar of motorcycles approached. Jax and his crew walked in, this time not for trouble, but for pie. At a corner table, Lena and Ellie sat together, laughing